Good evening, everyone. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, I'd like to invite the speaker, Mr. Deepak Behl, who will talk about Dendrobium cut flowers. I now request the speaker to begin. Thank you.
Okay, hi, good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I'd like to give I want to thank everybody for giving this wonderful opportunity to me to be on this dais today to represent and give my thoughts about how the existing business, which is still untouched and it's still like very away from everyone. Dendrobium orchids is what we are going to discuss today about. So before we start with the whole thing, I'd like to describe a little bit about how we started with Darjeeling Gardens Private Limited. So initially, we began orchid cultivation on a small scale and focusing only on the temperate orchids, which traditionally everybody had a myth that it's only grown in hilly regions. So there is like a very common misconception about this thing. While people are still aware about, thankfully in today's time, they are like well aware of tropical orchids and their cultivation methods too. So when we initiated our work with temperate orchids, particularly Cymbidium in 2009, the general belief was that these orchids were confined mainly to Darjeeling region only. Why? Because it has a very cooler and temperature climate, which is suitable for the growth of orchids. At that time, the orchid cultivation was not widely viewed as a commercial enterprise. And that was the bold step which the company had to take and further developed orchids as a main structured commercial venture. It was then in 2017 that we expanded into tropical and subtropical orchids, such as Dendrobium and Vanda, Mocara, Cattleya, Phalaenopsis, that can further be cultivated into across many regions of India. Today, large-scale commercial orchid farming is well established, as everybody knows, in southern part of India. However, in North India and northeastern states as well, orchids are still largely grown on non-commercial or hobby scale, I'd say. It was after, although the COVID-19 pandemic caused hesitation among new growers, that they were like still afraid that how this business would respond. But the rise of e-commerce platforms selling orchids that clearly reflects its growing demand in today's time. So we only believe in one thing, that orchids can be grown by anywhere, by anyone, anywhere. And this is what Darjeeling Gardens we Private Limited does. We grow orchids and supply them to retailers and online resellers through our own e-commerce platform to further sell it and make more revenue. This entirely demonstrates the sheer scale and potential of the market. Compared to crops like other roses or gerbera, which require intensive manpower, strict fertigation schedules, orchids are very easily they can be maintained. And orchids basically they require less water, minimal fertilizers. On the other side, if I talk that orchids are they perform for up to 30 years, so their shelf life is also good. It's quite long enough. Especially Sonia purple and Sonia white, which belong to the Dendrobium family. If they are mostly preferred due to their exceptional shelf life. And cut flowers can last over a month in a vase. Despite strong demand in metropolitan cities for flowering plants, still this gap presents a powerful opportunity for many people who literally want to get into this field and want to make it their whole time profession. They want to make it a business. Further, like, yes, we cultivate both temperate and tropical orchids, including Cymbidium, Dendrobium, Venda, Mocara, then Cattleya, Phalaenopsis as well, offering both pot plants, cut flowers, customized displays, and a wide range of local hybrid and intergenic species, proving that orchids truly are a future-ready crop for Indian floriculture. Now, I would like to talk a little bit about tropical orchid production. So the key advantage of growing tropical orchids is their wide adaptability. They can be cultivated in nearly 80% of India's geographical regions. Majorly India's geographical region, as most parts of the country fall under tropical climate only, you know it. Practical entry point is to get into this orchid business is through growing dendrobiums, a popular tropical orchid well suited for commercial projects. So broadly, orchid ventures follow two models. One focuses on raising plants and selling saplings or plants at different growth stages, while the other concentrates exclusively on cut flowers. So in plant-based models, growers typically sell small to medium-sized plants, or those close to blooming sizes as well. However, we cater to every size preference, from young plants to flowering specimens as well. Many successful ventures balance both 70% pot plants with flowers and 30% of cut flowers. Then 6 to 10 months old plants are used. Flowering begins with 8 months. Within 8 months, I'd say. Tropical seasonal crops, Dendrobium produces high quality flowers mainly between these 4 months, which begins from June till September, making them commercially more valuable for people, as well as the growth of the plant basically takes place in a better manner during this time. But during winter, especially in northern northeastern regions, orchids enter a dormant phase due to lower temperatures. This still allows projects to run successfully with proper planning. Orchids are slow growing and low maintenance plants, so one doesn't need to focus too much on them. But yes, a well-designed polyhouse is very much required, and that polyhouse should always have good ventilation, aeration, and air circulation. Now, since orchids are very fragile in terms of it can't tolerate too much of excessive heat. So since orchids tolerate high light intensity, I mean shade nets are much required to take care of it, and carefully need to prevent them from getting their leaves burnt. Okay, so humidity can be effectively maintained using misting machines, fog lines, and all these things. The thing was that when moving into commercial orchid business, changes significantly from hobby or small scale cultivation. Practices such as correct spacing is very much required. So when we're talking about infrastructure, if I come down to the commercial part, so infrastructure would cost largely depends on planning and investment strategy. Like, let's say, for an example, if I get 1 acre of Dendrobium Sonia Purple project, it is possible to always accommodate around 40,000 till 60,000 plants. And cut flower oriented projects plant costs are higher due to premium planting material. So at an average cost of 65, 50, 55 till 60, 65 rupees per seedling. Investing in 50,000 to 60,000 plants requires approximately 30 lakhs. That is the bigger amount the person needs to invest. Flowering typically begins from 6 to 8 months after planting, sometimes ending up to an year. Each cut flower or stick is period around, it was like priced around 15 rupees. Then a conservative estimate of 2 to 3 sticks per plant, which can further increase till 5 to 6, and the maximum it goes is till 7 plants, 7 sticks, which on an average, if like we talk about like if sold, so the selling price around comes out to be like, if I like talk about 60,000 into 3 also. So approximately in a year's time, it would come out to be around 1,30,000. The average price would be from, if a single, like a stick of orchids is like sold in the market, from not less than 20 rupees. So there you can like calculate it becomes around 1,80,000 into 20. Straight away, it's like 36 lakhs business. That's really good enough. For the to like talking about how further we can like take care of it. Now, disease management is relatively like simple compared to other floriculture crops. Kids are really hard plants, and rarely they suffer from any serious fungal or bacterial infections, except occasionally during prolonged rainy seasons. And then issues are like short-lived and easily controlled with minimal, easily localized spraying, chemical usage. Those are the things. Life of the plant, if I talk about, like humidity is to be like always controlled. The export front, if I like talk about, we are receiving a good number of inquiries. I have already completed 2 to 3 export consignments till date, and have more than that. I might not be clear with the figures, but that is the reality of the whole thing. We're talking about the whole thing to rose gardens. This is more. This one is like much better when you compare it with rose, because in rose and gerbera you have to like take to constantly keep on like doing maintenance of it. You have to keep on like be very attentive to it. But with the orchids, it's not that way. Orchids you can like you can just like invest in it, and then with proper designing of your poly house, because majority of the thing is that little bit of sprinkling of water will definitely give you better results than giving you 100% time like other plants to. This one is not that much required. But yes, poly house construction is very important. How big and how properly, systematically, under the guidance of an expert when you design it, because that needs to have proper humidity and aeration, cross ventilation, all that is very much required. And as I told you, its shelf life is also way lot beyond the existing plants that you get to see in the market. Its life is around 30 years. So that's really good enough. On the export front, we are receiving a good number of inquiries. That's also nice. The cost efficiency, if I talk about, makes orchids cultivation highly visible to as a commercial activity, unlike crops such as those arts. At present, we are primarily catering to the Indian market, but as demand is growing, we are also catering to the foreign market as well. There are a lot of educational training programs, videos, orchid farming, growers and enthusiasts. They all can visit our platform to understand project execution. If I talk about orchid plants can also be treated as assets as compared to other cut flower projects like rose and other previously also. Thus, like require medicines compared to other floriculture crops. The minimal systematic expense, you can get major 100% output, which can literally give you a good business and create a very good market. Majorly, when we talk about the polyhouse construction, so what happens is that towards the north side and northeastern part, proper polyhouse, proper shading and all those things, it's like made in that manner, which is very much like required. So it makes it more possible for the plants to grow in a much better manner. South India has got that kind of thing as well. So they're also good enough in it. Covered polyhouse for north and northeastern and western India is very much recommended. Sometimes the weather, climate, temperature, and all sometimes becomes harsh. So overall, it's a good way of like procuring the life and also taking care of it on a daily basis. I like talk about myself. So I am Deepak Behl, take care of the sales part, take care of the operations of Darjeeling Gardens Private Limited. Along with this, we have our e-commerce platform also, which I earlier I described about in my previous statements. Yes, it's by the name of Click Orchid. So how the sales takes place, what kind of customers we have, how much sales we are doing to different parts and regions of the country. I cater to all that. But name over here. In fact, yes, there's one thing which I also wanted to tell is that in Bangalore, on this coming October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, at the biggest agriculture festival that's going to take place at Bangalore BIC. So we'll be having our exhibition over there. I'd request many of your viewers to come and visit us over there also. So it'll be better for us, as well as more convenient for us to give a one-on-one detailed explanation about how Darjeeling Gardens literally help them in growing orchids and expanding their business into this field. Further, there's one more thing which I'd like to also highlight over here is that other primary challenges, because everything that we talk about positivity is something I also want to tell you about. One of the primary challenges in orchid projects is lack of experienced technical professionals, because of which people they sometimes they hesitate in coming up in this business. Skilled manpower for cultivation is limited, making it essential to identify interested individuals and invest time and training them. We like take care of the whole thing. Then climatic variation presents an additional challenge as well. In tropical regions such as Kerala, orchids benefit from extended growing seasons, but this also means longer production cycle due to prolonged summers. So, in contrast, regions like Siliguri offer only about 6 months of active growth, after which winter conditions require careful plant protection to prevent yellowing and stress of the plants. This makes greenhouse and shade net management critical, particularly in regulating ventilation, closure timings, and irrigation practices. The most successful projects, market projects, they depend heavily on precise climate control, advanced planning, consistent technical supervision, in which Darjeeling Gardens Private Limited is really having a good hold. So we, on a continuous basis, we keep helping our growers, people who have literally joined us to set up their own orchid farms. So we have that kind of technical support with us, which enables us to give them proper, specific, timely technical instructions, guidance. Our team goes, meets the growers over there, their farmers, how they are doing. Their team provides them the complete training about how it's to be done, making sure that everything with the objective with which the person has literally joined us should be completely fulfilled. So we work in this manner as well. And on the other side, cut flowers, Darjeeling Gardens has got a e-commerce platform, as I told you. So we are already selling to the online sellers and to the online resellers as well to do a better business with us. This also generates a better revenue for them as well. Orchids have, so they have a good demand, but still in metropolitan cities, there's a gap in demand and supply. Demand is on the higher side, but because there's still like many people haven't completely got into the business, because of which that gap still remains. The supply is still not able to match up with the demand quantity. So here I would also like to invite people through this medium to come and like speak to us. My number is already mentioned. Allow us to give them the 100% confidence with the technical knowledge about how they're thinking about the expenses or how much investment and other things they have to do, so that this orchid business also becomes a good flourishing business for them as well. We are like we deal in both kind of projects as well as like from medium-sized plants or to small, from small size. Typically, we sell from small to medium-sized plants, or those which are very close to the blooming size. However, we cater to every size plants, from young plants to flowering specimens. Some plants, some projects are like designed purely for cut flower, requiring a focused production strategy. Many successful ventures, they are doing their business in this manner only. We have orchids, like orchids, it's not only means in today's time, I'm seeing that many other people are doing it on commercial basis to grow, to turn it into their full-time business. Others are also doing it on just as a hobby thing. Orchids have a very, very great importance in different cultures, depending on their colors. Like in Feng Shui also, if you see that every color has got a different importance, and they are also like treated as very lucky, like green color, red, yellow, orange, blue color, purple, Dendrobium sonia, white, sonia purple, the most commonly found orchids. Every color has got their own importance as well. And not only like dealing in tropical and subtropical, we are dealing in cerbadiums as well. So if we like talk about only about tropical, so Dendrobium is like one I told you, Vanda, Mokara, Cattleya, Phenolopsis. They all can be like cultivated across many regions of India. Today, large-scale commercial orchid farming is well established in South India. Still towards the north and the northeastern part of India, there is a great scope, and still orchids are still like largely grown on a commercial or hobby scale, as I told you. One of the biggest strengths of tropical regions is their ability to grow almost all orchid varieties. And in these last few years, we have got many people, many growers have like got attached with us, to whom we have not only like provided materials but also technical support as well, so that they don't have to like, get worried with how the whole thing is to be done. We help in polyhouse construction as well, the materials as well, support of it, proper trained manpower, experts who timely keep on like seeing and guiding uh, people who have made investments in this project. And I'd just like to say that with appropriate growing conditions and expert management, orchid cultivation offers significant potential for a profitable, sustainable agricultural enterprise.
Mr. Deepak, you have completed or you'd like to add anything?
No, thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. So we'll move on to some questions. Yeah. So few you must have already answered. Still, I'll read out. So what are the ideal climatic conditions for commercial cultivation of Dendrobium cut flowers?
Okay, see, as I like told you, that Dendrobiums can be like easily grown in temperate climate zone, like everybody knows about us, right? And that's the reason like we when we started our business, it was majorly from Darjeeling. But on the other side, when the highest growth, when the highest, when it's to be done on a commercial basis, so tropical climate that really benefits a lot. And because India is like full 80%, it's all about tropical climate regions only. Okay, because of which this climate, Indian climate, it benefits a lot to people who are literally wanting to get into this business. So yeah, tropical climate in this you also have many varieties to grow, which are like suitable for orchids. Like first one, if I talk about, it's like Dendrobium only. The second one, it's Cattleya. Third one is Phalaenopsis. Fourth is Mocara. Then fifth is Vanda. So like this, you have many varieties to grow in tropical region and maybe restraining also to temperate zone of climate. And Cymbidium is like very comfortable over there because Cymbidium is the most costliest, I'd say, of orchid family. But yes, then the time and the temperature that it requires is like during the winters, it should be like all year around, it shouldn't be like more than 19 to 21 degrees.
Okay. And which Dendrobium varieties have the highest demand in domestic and export markets?
Okay. See, for this, as I had also told you earlier on in now, that the most common and the most commercially acceptable orchid, which is like any other grower want, if wishes to get into this industry, should definitely begin with Dendrobium, Sonia purple, and Sonia white. This is like commercially, it has a very great demand. In fact, we also in 2017, when we expanded into tropical and subtropical orchids market, so we had also begun with this Dendrobium only. So the same is what I'd like recommend to the freshers, to the beginners, that if they literally want to get into this commercial enterprise, they should start with Dendrobiums. So they get a lot of better varieties as well. Because all these varieties have a good demand in international market. Yeah, but Sonia purple is always on the higher side. It's on the
Okay.
top of the list.
Okay. Yeah. So what are the major pests and diseases affecting these flowers and how can they be managed effectively?
I'm so sorry, I didn't get your question. What you're saying?
1 second. I'll just post in the chat box. Yeah.
Okay, what are the major pests and diseases affecting Dendrobium and how they can be managed effectively? Okay. See, ma'am, on the other side, if I talk about pests and diseases, see, orchids, they are like very hardened plants. They are good enough. They are hardy plants and rarely suffer from serious fungal and bacterial infection. except occasionally during prolonged rainy seasons, which is like June, July, August month. So even then, issues are short-lived and easily controlled with minimal localized spraying, chemicals usage remains low overall. So common pests such as mites and snails, they might appear, but with basic pesticides, they can be managed very effectively. Overall, the combination of lower maintenance, it's not like too much costly, too much of maintenance one doesn't have to do about it. Control costs, scalable returns, everything is a commercial market cultivation is good overall. Agribusiness model is also very good at supporting it. It's like tension free, you could say.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are the best practices for irrigation, fertigation, and nutrition management to achieve high quality blooms?
Okay. So in general terms, if I talk about now, you see orchids, they don't need to be like too much of water and all these things. No, there's a simple media, cocoa peat and cocoa chips. These things are like required. It's like majorly it requires to be more of dry, but humidity is very much required. That's the reason you need to have proper poly houses wherein humidity is like maintained. So if I talk like in Fahrenheit, approximately till 77 degrees Fahrenheit, that much temperature is like required to be maintained. And yeah, then you have sprinklers, water sprinklers. Tiny little bit of that water sprinkling is to be done at regular intervals, and yes, it can be like taken care of. So there's not like too much of investment even in there. Take care also that one has to do.
Okay. And what is the initial investment, maintenance cost, and expected return on investment for a commercial Dendrobium unit?
Okay, you want to get into like if talking about it, man, see in today's time, even there's one site also, it's by the name MIDH. So even the government also supports in terms of providing subsidies. So MIDH, I'll like tell you the whole full form, Mission for Integrated Development of Horticulture. So in general, in basic terms, if I talk, so like if you said that how much investment, how much of land area would be required. So in 1 acre of project, right, approximately 3,300 square meters of bed area is like required. And cost of poly house is like 1,000 to 1,200 as per square meter that MIDH they provide subsidies, right? And cost of planting material is like for the cut flower project between 55 to 65 rupees you have to spend on a plant. So if I talk about like 4,000 into 1,000 comes out to be 140 lakhs. And for plant, if I talk it's like 55,000, 55 till 6 multiplied by 60,000, 65,000, 60,000. What I mean to say is that the total number of plants that can of orchids that can be planted in that 1 acre of land area. Okay. So 40 plus 33 comes out to be around 73 lakhs. Apart from this, the other expenses comes out to be around between 13 to 16 lakhs, on which you get like on 73 lakhs, you straight away get from the government, it's like around 50% of subsidy the government provides through their MIDH project, which is Mission for Integrated Development of Horticulture. Right. So in totality, if I say that the total expense that a person would have to do around about 90 lakh expenses, that too only for a 1 acre of project in which 60,000 approximately plants can be grown. And on which, yeah, definitely you will be getting like 50% subsidy from the government as well. The
Okay.
expenses, 16 lakh expenses, if I further like bifurcate the whole thing, it's like for the beds, fertilizer, media, poly house, all that construction, approximately that to around 500 rupees square meters. Like that in 16. And
Okay.
the average price at which you can sell per stick in the market approximately is not less than 20 rupees. So you can understand, like in 60,000, if I take the least of the sticks also, matlab 3 sticks also, if I talk about, so 60,000 by 3, you can understand it comes out to be 1,80,000 sticks that you get it only in the very first year of its growth. So the average price is around like 1,80,000 multiplied by 20 per stick cost. Straight away, the business revenue that you get is around 36 lakhs. That's good.
Okay. And what is the period?
Ma'am, the period as in how within how much time this whole
Yeah.
calculation? Okay, ma'am. It entirely depends upon how well you take care, but generally, like we started getting results within the very first year itself.
Mm.
And by our technical team, experts, we also ensure that people who are willing to join us, we get them the same results within 1 year's time period only.
Okay. Right.
Because on
And
this, then you know that for the government is also, like I told you, 90 lakhs if the person is making expenses, so straight away 50% government is only giving subsidy. Government themselves, they are like saying that start this business because as I told you, demand and supply has got a huge gap.
okay. And how can farmers improve the waste life and post-harvest quality of these cut flowers?
Farmers definitely they can. I mean, just by taking care, by taking good care of the plants, and also by ensuring that by following the instructions that our experts give, properly maintaining the poly house bed bed on which these plants they are like grown and different sizes of pots starting from 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, better media, timely guidance which is required from our side, training. We ensure basically it is that we ensure that people who are joining us, we ensure that nowhere they face any kind of problem, whether it be farmers or a top-end businessman also. With them, we ensure that their investment really starts giving them the best of the results.
Okay. And what are the market opportunities and export potential for these flowers from India?
See, ma'am, export opportunities, they are really good enough. I mean, if I talk about this thing, so majorly there are a lot of countries, there are a lot of places, but still, because of like scarcity of all this technical guidance and timely help from a proper technical team, there the production is not that much high, but we from Darjeeling Gardens, we definitely make sure that yes, we try and like cover up that gap because of which demand is everywhere. It's just that still, even we also are unable to match up that much of requirement, that much of demand. So supply is as a reason we like we educate people to come and join us so that bridge that gap can be fulfilled.
Okay. And what are the common mistakes new growers make in Dendrobium cultivation and how can they be avoided?
Okay. Could you repeat what you said? Yeah.
Common mistakes.
Sure, common mistakes. Common mistakes, generally what they do is that majorly, see, what I've seen is that over watering, they do it sometimes. And their polyhouse, they don't like get it constructed under proper expert supervision, because of which the aeration that creates sometimes major problems. And also that um, proper fertilizers, sprays, and other the things which are like required for the maintenance of the plants, they don't take it that, because of which these problems sometimes will take place. And majority of the time, like we have seen that people, because of lack of knowledge, they leave some of the plants unattended, because of which the plant over the time period gets damaged. So yeah, these are some of the common problems because of which sometimes farmers they face problem. Or else generally it's always good enough.
Okay. Next question is two more questions.
Yeah,
Mm,
please.
Based on your experience at Darjeeling Gardens Private
Yeah.
Limited, what cultivation and post-harvest practices have contributed the most producing export quality flowers?
Okay. For this, I because here with me, my expert is also there, Mr. Sunil Kumar Agarwal sir. He is the CEO, technical advisor. I would request if he could like join us. Sunil sir.
And post the question in the chat box.
Could you like repeat once again your question? So
Yeah.
he was actually.
Based on your experience at Darjeeling Gardens Private Limited, what cultivation and post-harvest practices have contributed the most to producing export quality flowers? I posted in the chat box also.
Uh, Hello.
Ji Sunil ji, I can hear you.
Yes, actually, Darjeeling Gardens is initially Darjeeling Gardens started its projects from Cymbidium cultivation. That Cymbidium cut flower is very much demanded outside because most of the dendrobiums are exported by Thailands, exported by the Southeast Asian countries because they have very short period of winters. So the growing time for this crop is too longer for them, so they get early flower and the good quality flower because of the naturally they have good humidity and they are all grown under the shade house. So the cost of production of this Dendrobium cut flowers is very less in Thailand because most that's why most of the still still we have because Dendrobium is not an export oriented project if we talk about the cut flower because most of the cut flowers are still coming from Thailand. Most of the importers in India, they are importing cut flowers, Dendrobium cut flowers. So it is better since now the importing Now, the cost of importing due to the rise in the price of dollars, the cost of importing of those cut flowers is very high. That's why this encourages most of the Indian domestic growers to get into this profession, to get into this cut flowers only, because most of the people in Indore and Raipur, they are already growing cut flower, this Dendrobium cut flower plants. So basically, Darjeeling Gardens is mainly doing Cymbidium orchids for export, but the rest other orchids we are doing for the domestic purpose only, because in domestic there is a lot of demand in the domestic market, so we don't have to go about this export and all.
Okay. So there's the same follow-up question on this. I'm just posting in the chat box again. Considering increasing competition from countries like Thailand and the Netherlands, what strategies should Indian growers adopt to produce globally competitive Dendrobium flowers and access premium export market?
Uh, I already told you, because Netherlands never been in the competition for Dendrobium cut flower exports, because they are already importing a lot of Dendrobium cut flowers, because the cost of production in Netherlands is very high. Even but the Thailand has always been they from cultivation of cut flowers of Dendrobium, the Thailand is very competitive, and even the Indian growers cannot compete with the Thailand growers. And because most of the in Thailand, most of the cut flower growers, they grow in the shade house, which is very economical, and the cost of production is very low. And this dendrobiums, they don't need daily schedule like pesticides or fertilizers, anything. So uh, so the involvement of manpower is also very low. That is why the cost of production in Thailand is very low, because of the planting materials, the propagation, everything is done there. So, as as the price of the dollar is increasing, the price of importing those flowers is very high. That is what it encouraged most of the growers in India to grow these flowers. Now, if these are grown in the southern part of the country, because the southern part, the growing period is very long. Like most of the southern parts, they have hot climate, hot and humid climate. So the cost of production in those areas is very less, because the production time is very early, and they can fetch good quality cut flowers. So they don't have to make a covered greenhouse. They can grow in a shade house. So if this can be adapted, then we may export it to the Middle East countries, because the Middle East, they still they still need a lot of cutworms, because we are already exporting rose and gerberas to those countries. So along with this, most of the growers, they want to increase more different types of flowers in their basket. So orchids is also one of them.
Okay. Next question, Mr. Deepak, it is for you. I'm just
Yeah.
posting.
Yeah. Okay, so as operations head, what advice would you like to give to young entrepreneurs and farmers who want to establish a profitable networking for farmers? Okay, so ma'am, me giving here what I'd like to suggest to the young budding uh, businessmen who are literally wanting to get into this profitable dendrobium business is to not just hop into this market just by listening to some just like that. But do a deep study about the whole thing. Okay, contact us because we will definitely help you. We will educate you. We have all those resources. It has been more than 18 years that we are into this industry. We have started the business right from the scratch. Okay. We have technical support. We have the best of the experts with us who have got thorough knowledge. We have over the time period understood the market very deeply, understood what are the pros and cons of each and every thing, whether it be on climate, uh, on the climatic side, or it be in the market side, or it be with any kind of challenges. Okay. So over these 18 years, that experience that we have, we give, we support our our customers who literally want to join us. We provide them each and every technical support. We provide each and every resource. We make their life really easy when it comes to uh, like they have this plan that they want to start with this business. We make their life more easy, and we do the entire setup. Polyhouse constructions, like just now, what Sunil sir told is that though 80% of our entire India is full of like tropical hot climate, okay, so it is not like mandatory that everywhere the same structure of poly house needs to be constructed. There are many of the places wherein polyhouse is not that much required as what a normal shed will also do. Okay, a shed will also satisfy the entire requirement. But to understand this thing, generally what happens is that any other person who he has it in his mind, oh, that I have to like because the temperature over here is like that, so I'll also have to create a polyhouse. No, that is not mandatory. But for all this, to understand that what place, what region, which climate under what climatic conditions, what kind of structure needs to be created for this, technical support is required. And thankfully, Darjeeling Garden Private Limited has got real technical experts like Sunilji himself. He is the main person who gets into this project. He literally sees to it that the customer who at the time of like showing his interest of starting this business, he takes them around, he shows them all our places, our farms, our laboratory where these orchids they are grown, how the entire thing he introduces the customer, the client, to the scientist as well. He himself guides them in this manner, in such a manner that yes, at the end of the whole discussion, we show him, we prove it that if he joins, if the customer is willing to literally get into the business, he gets the best output. And whatever the figures I just told you few moments back, that 36 lakh, we ensure that the businessman is who is willing to invest in coming up with this orchid project, that he achieves it in the very first year itself. And from next year onwards, his ticks multiply more than in the first year, from 3 till 4, then 6, and then further till 7. Because orchids has that kind of uh, orchids like they grow horizontal manner, and their shelf life, as I told you, is like 30 years. And if an orchid cut flower is like it's secure, it's like kept in a vase. Cut flowers, they can last for over a month in a vase. So you can understand how big and how large its shelf life is as compared to other flower plants like gerbera and what we say this rose, whose shelf life is also very less, and then they demand too much of care. Orchids is like not that type. minimal care, with minimum care, good protection, technical support, technical advice, technical support, everything can really become good for a new businessman who wants to get into this. The entrepreneurs literally needs to understand, farmers need to understand that how much proper guidance is required to get into this orchid business. So here at this stage, we come into the play, we help. Darjeeling Garden Private Limited, we help.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Deepak and Mr. Sunil. So I don't see any more questions. So now we have come to end of question round. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we like to thank you both for a very detailed presentation, answering all the questions in depth. Hope this talk will be helpful to all our farmers and upcoming entrepreneurs of this business.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving this wonderful opportunity to us. And I'd also like to extend my warm regards to our technical expert, the CEO of Darjeeling Gardens Private Limited, Mr. Sunil Kumar Agarwal, for giving his valuable time over here and helping us out in providing this wonderful information. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Sunil. Thank you, Mr. Deepak. Thank you.
Thank you.